Japan!
So it's recently come out that the country with the second highest atheist population is also the greatest, Japan. It's nice to see the atheist allying with Japan. If history has taught us anything, it's that this strategy always works for the ideologue. First, I want to look at the most atheistic country.
China. China. China.
What do we know about its people? How do they live? Do we have a free society where everyone is afforded the rights that we enjoy in the West? No. It's an oppressive and taxing regime for the most part, and it's overrun by communists, and they don't take kindly to dissent. China and Japan are they have very similar cultural values, and while the Allied occupation of Japan after World War II gave it its parliamentary democracy, with the exposure to Western culture, ushering in rights to women and other good virtues that flourished in Christendom, well, it got all that, it still holds to its honour-shame system, this honour-shame culture. It's an oppressive and restrictive and incestuous society full of deviance, things that go unreported because of this desire not to bring shame onto the family, and all these there's a lot of weird shit in Japanese culture.
なんてことを。
一郎君、私をお貸しなさい。
Like vending machines that bring out children's underwear that are soiled, and they've got problems with child pornography and trafficking and human beings and stuff like that. It's for all its low homicide can be said to be this amazing accolade for atheism. It's worth noting these things, and it's also worth noting that for a developed country, Japan has the highest rate of suicide. And we have to ask ourselves, why? Why? And I think we've touched on some of whys. So, as I mentioned before, with the Allied occupation and how it brought about parliamentary democracy and, greater exposure to Western customs, I'd say this did more for Japan than atheism. What atheist would want to live in strict Japanese customs, I think a lot of atheists prefer where they are. I think they would cry and consider Japanese culture repressive and oppressive. Okay, so it's also worth noting here that, while this little meme that's doing the rounds says the conclusion is clear, not only is life in a godless world possible, it may be preferable, as if to say, atheism brings about low murder and crime rates. Really? Is there a connection between atheism and low homicide rates? No. No, there couldn't be. There is no intellectual foundation for morality from atheism. As heavyweight atheist intellectual John Gray says, the belief that the human species is a moral agent struggling to realise its inherent possibilities, the narrative of redemption that sustains secular humanists everywhere, is a hollowed out version of a theistic myth. The idea that the human species is striving to achieve any purpose or goal, a universal state of freedom or justice, say, presupposes a pre-Darwinian teleological way of thinking that has no place in science. Okay, this is why the best civilizations are those which have been afforded the grace of finding themselves within Christendom, and everyone influenced by it enjoys a truer flavour of freedom, and ultimately has that spiritual freedom, which is the most important, I believe.
There is another. A Japanese boy did make it to level 59.
Are you stupid, Uriel? Japanese people don't have souls.
Yeah, Uriel. Oh, right, I'm sorry.